In the previous episode, I visited Pentecost and Espirito Santo Islands in Vanuatu before checking out to sail to Australia. Here I sailed to the remote reef system and island of Ile Huon at the northern end of New Caledonia on my way across to Australia.
It's Tuesday the 18th of June and we have left Vanuatu at 6 p.m. last night, just after sunset, and by 6 a.m. this morning we've done 60 miles, an average of 5 knots. We're cruising along. It's a grey morning though, grey sea, and now it's noon and beautiful clear skies, absolutely gorgeous sailing. It's not that fast right now, doing 4, pushing 5 knots. Wind's probably blowing 10, but that's exactly what it was forecast to do from the south. And we're headed back to the very north end of New Caledonia, hoping to stop at an atoll there. We'll see.
This was the first mahi-mahi I had caught since Minerva Reef, so it was a great treat to have 5 meals from it.
It's Thursday, 20th of June. Nice breeze from the south. Brought us in extra fast here. We're early, but that's fine. This is the very northern tip of the reef that surrounds Ile Huon, which I hope to go to way up there. It's going to be a hard beat now once we get around the corner here. You can see some rocks on the reef here. There's a rock right in the middle there. And there's the edge of the reef. We're going to cut it fairly close and then head on up the other side. We're going to use the engine because it's going to be a hard beat going up there for an hour or so. Here's just a little bit more of it as we go around. At least in the sunlight, you can see the waves breaking. We're still at 150 feet depth here. We should be good.
That was the northern tip of this reef system, which extends far north of the Sandbar Island in the middle of the western side. So we then had to beat and tack up to the island.
We are now beating hard upwind and getting out into more open sea, so the waves are getting big. So that's punishing us a bit, but atoll's over there somewhere. At some point I'll tack and try to head up there. Once I get really close, the waves should be a lot less. I might just motor up the edge and in.
As shown by our dark green tracker at the top of the iSailor chart, I called the ley line perfectly, and after a 90-degree tack, which is only possible on sea change by motor sailing, we sailed right up to the Ile Huon sandbar.
Oh, how cool is this? This is a sandbar, huge sandbar called Ile Huon within a reef system. It doesn't even have palm trees on it. Must get swept by cyclones periodically. Tahiti petrel right in front of us. Let's see if it won't come back up next to us. Here we go. Here's one right here.
Now I have a major confession. Somehow I convinced myself I was seeing Tahiti petrels all the way from French Polynesia. But later it became obvious that these are not petrels. Instead, they are brown or common boobies, an abundant species throughout the Pacific and Indian tropics. Their overall shape and coloration is similar to Tahiti petrels, but the head and bill are completely different. Tahiti petrels are in fact fairly uncommon, and it is even possible I have never seen one.
And now I have a Tahiti petrel on lifelines. Just don't poop on my staysail, okay? That's the requirement for being allowed to stay, at least briefly. Yes, hello. Oh, you are so cute. It's a little not quite so light underneath as normal. Yeah, oops, off he goes. All over the place here. Absolutely amazing place. Must be tens of thousands of birds here. Fantastic. I think I'm anchored securely. It's kind of thin, the sand. Let's hope so, otherwise the anchor will catch on some coral surely. Here we go. There are innumerable birds. A few gannets, lots and lots of Tahiti petrels, and thousands and thousands of blue noddies. Oh man, they're right on top of me here. Here's the anchorage. Looking good. It's going to really low tide because it's full moon almost, so I'm going to get some nice snorkeling later. These gannets are generally unperturbed by me walking by them. Yeah, you're a good looking dude, aren't you? Yeah, Webb Charles would like you a lot. There's quite a few more of them in front here. One's up on the bank, I think, are probably nesting.
Compounding my bird identification mistakes, these are not gannets, but rather masked boobies.
I'm walking along the end of the sand spit here, typical debris, sandal, rum bottle or something, another rum bottle, all sorts of natural stuff. This is the fringing reef. It's low tide. All the debris from Vanuatu and further east can wash up here. This would be the most awesome flatwater kite surfing spot. Wow. Just don't have the nerve to do it on my own. Although conceivable that a little bit higher tide you could launch in here and be safe, although it's really shallow right now. All these blue noddies flying around. If you look further down the shore, you see that it's just constant birds flying everywhere.
On the windward side of the island, there was an endless stream of noddies and boobies riding the slight uplift of the southeast trades coming over the island. I walked completely around the island, staying close to the low water mark so as to minimize disruption of the birds, and specifically avoiding disturbing any nesting birds up in the vegetation. There were 2 steel poles that might have once borne a sign about this island, which I believe is a nature reserve. And of course, I had not rechecked into New Caledonia, so this visit was not completely legal, but I assumed the French authorities were fully occupied with the still ongoing civil unrest in Noumea. Furthermore, I do not transmit AIS, and therefore it is not possible for authorities to tell where I am. On the leeward side, the low tide left rock pools with small moray eels hunting for crabs, such as this one with bright red eyes.
And just like that, 2 p.m, we are off on what promises to be a wild ride to Chesterfield Reef. It's flat water now. We're mowing along at 7, coming out of the island here, Ile Huon. We're going to dodge this green thing here, and then we'll head up. So we're coming out of this reef system, a huge patch of coral here. See the waves breaking on it. Got to be just a little careful, there's a patch of it over there, but I'm pretty sure that we're good. Got about 120 feet here. See the difference in the color of the water. But that was a great visit to a great place. Off to Chesterfield Reef, blow and stink. Should be a wild ride.
My iSailor chart with our track shows how we wove past various coral patches as we left this reef system, heading off for the 250-mile passage across the Coral Sea to Chesterfield Reef, another New Caledonia territory. The next day, the summer solstice of June 21, I was visited by one of the largest pods of dolphins I have seen far out at sea.
And we have a group of dolphins. This is just a couple of them. There are a whole bunch more in front of us, and around us, and on the side. And they just are so fast. Look at them go in the waves here. Wow! Wow, I thought that was all of them. But they just keep coming. As you can see them, they're grey bodies in the waves, just surfing along. Watch this one in this wave. Look at that. Woo! Right past us. And back for another one. Oh man. Catch another wave. Yes. And another wave. Go back. Here's a good wave. All four of them now. This is three together. Four. Yes. Wow. Right past us. They just keep coming. There are more and more of them. This is like that Tonga experience. Just keep streaming in past us. Look at that. Look at that. Go. Right by like we are standing still. We're having a really boisterous, wonderful sail now. We've got full sail up. We are doing 6.5, 7, 7.5, sometimes knots, and these dolphins just keep on coming by. Watch this one race off here. Catch this wave. Off they go.
In the next episode, I sail on to Chesterfield Reef on my way to Australia.